Hiya folks, welcome to the show. As we all know, there's 104 days of summer vacation. Or maybe not.
Growing up, we were all jealous of Phineas and Ferb's exceedingly long summer. But to add insult to injury, they decided the law of time didn't apply to them and turned 104 days of summer into 222 days, plus 2 movies. Which brings to mind the question,
how the hell does any of this work?
And since I'm sure you're all just as invested in the timeline of an episodic Disney cartoon as I am, we're going to break this all down and figure out where everything in this series fits, including all the specials and spin-offs. We have a lot to get through, so stick with me because Phineas and Ferb did it all and now I have to analyse it all. I make the best life choices.
Mom! Phineas and Ferb are making a title sequence!
Of course, the first episode is Rollercoaster, since they always refer to that as being the thing they built on the first day of summer. From the very first frame of the theme song, we can see that Phineas and Ferb's summer starts on June the 3rd.
But you know, there's 261 days till next summer vacation.
Wait a minute. That's May.
So after doing some advanced math, I have concluded that Phineas and Ferb's summer begins May 19th and ends in the last few days of August, which means Rollercoaster takes place on May 19th. Production-wise, the next episode is Candace Loses Her Head, which features Candace's birthday, on July 11th. So that's got to take place later in the summer. For May 20th, I'm putting in The Fast and the Phineas and Raging Bully, because it's the episode that introduces Buford, who cameos in some of the earliest episodes, and I don't think he'd be taking part in Phineas and Ferb's creations before he got on good terms with them. And there's nothing that really gets in the way of them being on the same day. Lawn Gnome Beach Party of Terror starts in the morning and ends in the evening, so that takes up the entire day. The Magnificent Few takes place over a few hours and seemingly quite early in the day, so Swinter recurring right after that isn't impossible. Are You My Mummy doesn't take place over a full day, but I think that time can be reserved for one of their unseen inventions. Flop Stars and Lights Candace Action seem to take up a decent amount of time, so they each get their own day. The next episode I'm including is Voyage to the Bottom of Buford, as I feel that's the episode that cements him as one of Phineas and Ferb's friends, which is important as the next episode, Get That Bigfoot Out My Face, features him going on a camping trip with them. Then we have The Ballad of Badbeard, as it also takes place at the camp. Tree to Get Ready and It's About Time are next, which I feel could take place on the same day. Now, currently I am mostly going in production order, and that's because the next episode, Jerk du Soleil, features the series' first onslaught of callbacks during the song Evil Boys. Something you're going to notice very quickly is just how much continuity there is in this show.
They built a roller coaster and a beach in the backyard. Drove cattle through the city. They took me back in time. They built 50-foot treehouse robots.
Toy to the World and One Good Scare Ought to Do It are up next, and then we take a few days off to visit Lawrence's family in England, during which A Hard Day's Night happens. I'd say give them about 4 days in London. Production-wise, the next episode is I, Robot, but we have to set that aside for a second, because according to Doofenshmirtz, that episode takes place in the middle of July, and we only just made it to June. Once the family returns home, we get Journey to the Centre of Candace, I Scream You Scream, It's a Mud World, and Ready for the Bettys. The Flying Fishmonger does not come next for reasons I will explain later. Instead, I think Phineas and Ferb Get Busted takes place right after Get Ready for the Bettys, as Perry's bad dream would make so much sense considering how close the boys just got to figuring out his identity. But wait, that episode references Candace Loses Her Head, which hasn't happened yet, so that means we have to put Ready for the Bettys and Phineas and Ferb Get Busted later in the timeline. Next is Grease Lightning, followed by Leave the Busting to Us and Crack the Whip, which I think take place on the same day. Boyfriend from 27,000 BC and Traffic Can Caper, which I believe take place during the same day, with Phineas and Ferb building their escalator to the moon in between. Then we have Put That Putter Away and Does This Duck Bill Make Me Look Fat, which are both on separate days. June 15th is Linda and Lawrence's wedding anniversary, which means it's time for Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together, which takes place over the whole day. Skipping over the monster of Phineas and Ferb and Sign for now, we have Unfair Science Fair Redux, and Oil on Candace, which take place over 2 days. Followed by Got Game, Out to Launch, Comic Chameleon, and Out of Tune, which all take place on separate days. Mom's birthday takes place on June the 22nd and is followed the day after by Hail Dufania and the Late Nose Monster, mostly ending season 1 and starting season 2. Next up we have Interview with the Platypus, Tip of the Day, Backyard Aquarium, Day of the Living Gelatin, Don't Even Blink, Shea Platypus, Perry Lays an Egg, and Gaming the System. We can't put Attack of the 50-Foot Sister here as it takes place midsummer as shown by the Midsummer Festival, and we're also going to have to put Elementary My Dear Stacy to one side and come back to it later. Now is when we have to start getting a little creative. Summer Belongs to You takes place during the summer solstice, which is July 21st. And features a major development with Candace and Jeremy getting together, which means any episode building up to that has to come beforehand. The episodes in question are Let's Take a Quiz, At the Car Wash, Cheer Up Candace, Nerdy Dancing, Suddenly Susie, Just Passing Through, Lemonade Stand, Nerds of a Feather, Make Play, and Candace Gets Busted. But we also need to account for the fact Candace Loses Her Head takes place on July 11th, and Hip Hip Parade takes place July 15th, and I have to include Ready for the Betties and Phineas and Ferb Get Busted at some point as well. Here's the order I came up with. Thaddeus and Thor takes place the same day as Deplane, followed by Let's Take a Quiz, At the Car Wash, Swiss Family Phineas, Phineas and Ferb's Quantum Boogaloo, That Sinking Feeling, Cheer Up Candace, Hide and Seek, and Attack of the 50-Foot Sister, which happen on the same day, Finding Mary McGuffin, Candace Loses Her Head, I, Brobot, Nerdy Dancing, which take place on the same day because why not? Then we have Ready for the Betties, Phineas and Ferb Get Busted on the same day again, Suddenly Susie, Just Passing Through, Hip Hop Parade and Candace Gets Busted, which were on the same day, followed by Make Play, Lemonade Stand, Nerds of a Feather, Spa Day, The Necessary Roughness, and Summer Belongs to You. Neither of the cliptastic countdowns count, but Quantum Boogaloo was the first really fun episode. This episode is all about time travel and alternate timelines that get erased, but also don't. In this episode, Phineas and Ferb travel to the future for a tool that hasn't yet been invented, and adult Candace goes back in time to the day they built the roller coaster in order to debust them. Doing so creates an alternate timeline where children were outlawed and Doofenshmirtz took over. But then that timeline gets erased. The credit scene reveals Isabella went back in time and retconned the whole episode, even though the timeline where the events in the present still happened as Isabella returns there. But wait, it gets even more confusing. Remember how I said Candace from the future goes back to the first day of summer when they built the roller coaster? Then how come both Candaces show up in the background of Rollercoaster the musical, which is a retelling of the episode that takes place later in the summer? Okay, so future Candace got it wrong and went to the wrong date, but no, this is definitely the Phineas and Ferb from the first Rollercoaster episode as they haven't yet fixed the time machine from It's About Time. It'd be great to say both these episodes just aren't canon, but in Summer Belongs to You, Phineas says they travel through time twice, so it has to be included. Following Summer Belongs to You, I added all the season 2 episodes I skipped over so far with The Chronicles of Meep, Oh There You Are Perry, The Baljeetles, No More Buddy Business, Bubble Boys and Isabella in the Temple of Sap, which occur on the same day, Fireside Girls Jamboree and The Bully Code, then Reginald and Winifred fly over to visit for a few days where we get the Flying Fishmonger and the Monster of Phineas and Ferbenstein. A few days later we pick back up with What Do It Do, Atlantis, Picture This, I Was a Middle-Aged Robot, Candace's Big Day and Ain't No Kiddie Ride. Invasion of the Ferb Snatchers and the Beak take place on the same day because why the hell not? Undercover Carl, Wizard of Odd, Not Phineas and Ferb Busters, The Lizard Whisperer, Robot Rodeo, The Secret of Success, Doof Side of the Moon, We Call It Maze, Ladies and Gentlemen Meet Max Modem, Split Personality and Brain Drain. And the final week of summer is spent on vacation in Hawaii.
So, just to recap.
Rollercoaster is May 19th, the first day of summer. The Fast and the Phineas and Raging Bully take place on the same day. Magnificent Few and Swinter take place on the same day. Are You My Mummy, Flop Stars, Lights Candace Action, Voyage to the Bottom of Buford, Get That Big Foot Out My Face, The Ballad of Badbeard, Tree to Get Ready and It's About Time take place on the same day. Jerk de Soleil, Toy to the World, One Good Scare Ought to Do It, A Hard Day's Night which leaves us in England for the next 4 days. From June 5th onward we have Journey to the Centre of Candace, Runaway Runway, I Scream You Scream, It's a Mud World, Grease Lightning, Crack the Whip, Leave the Busting to Us, Boyfriend from 27,000 BC and Traffic Cam Caper on the same day, Put That Putter Away, Does This Duckbill Make Me Look Fat, Dude We're Getting the Band Back Together occurs on June 14th. Over the 15th and the 16th we have Unfair Science Fair Redux and Oil on Candace. Got Gamers up next, followed by Out to Launch, Comet Chameleon, Out of Tune, Mom's Birthday which takes place on June 21st, Hail Dufania and the Late Nose Monster takes place on the same day, Interview with a Platypus, Tip of the Day, Attack of the 50-Foot Sister, Backyard Aquarium, Day of the Living Gelatin, Don't Even Blink, Shea Platypus, Perry Lays an Egg, Gaming the System. Kicking off July we have Thaddeus and Thor and Deplane which happen on the same day, Let's Take a Quiz, At the Car Wash, Swiss Family Phineas, Phineas and Ferb's Quantum Boogaloo, Hide and Seek, That Sinking Feeling, Cheer Up Candace, Finding Mary McGuffin, Candace Loses Her Head which takes place on July 10th, I, Brobot and Nerdy Dancing both take place on the same day, Ready for the Betties and Phineas and Ferb Get Busted take place on the same day, Suddenly Susie, Just Passing Through, Hip Hip Parade and Candace Gets Busted take place on July 15th, Make Play, Lemonade Stand, Nerds of a Feather, Spa Day, The Necessary Roughness, and the opening of Summer Belongs to You takes place July 20th, the rest of Summer Belongs to You takes place July 21st, the Summer Solstice, The Chronicles of Meep, Oh There You Are Perry, The Baljeetles, No More Bunny Business, Bubble Boys and Isabel in the Temple of Sapphire at the same time, Fireside Girls Jamboree, The Bully Code, and that night Reginald and Winifred visit from England. Sometime over the next 4 days we get The Flying Fishmonger and The Monster of Phineas and Ferb, which take us to August 2nd. We're in the home stretch now with What Do It Do, Atlantis, Picture This, I Was a Middle-Aged Robot, Candace's Big Day, Ain't No Kiddie Ride, Inversion of the Ferb Snatchers and The Beak take place on the same day, Undercover Carl, Wizard of Odd, Not Phineas and Ferb, Phineas and Ferb Busters, The Lizard Whisperer, Robot Rodeo, The Secret of Success, Doof Side of the Moon, We Call It Maze, Ladies and Gentlemen Meet Max Modem, Split Personality, Brain Drain, and we finally end the summer with the family spending a week in Hawaii before school begins on the 1st of September.
And that's how Phineas and Ferb spent their 104 days of summer vacation. Or at least their first one.
Now I know at a panel the creator said there are more than 104 episodes because the boys did multiple inventions in one day, but when most episodes open with the boys either waking up or eating cereal, yeah, no. So I'll be invoking Death of the Author here and saying Phineas and Ferb takes place over 2 summers, which, considering the show is kind enough as to never specify the characters' ages, makes that a lot easier to justify. And for those of you wondering, that's the spirit, Christmas Vacation, For Your Eyes Only and Happy New Year all take place in between the summers.
And just like Phineas and Ferb had 2 summers, this video is going to have 2 parts. Yeah, sorry, this project was just way too big for me to get done in just 1 week. So join me next time as we take a look at the second summer, which somehow manages to be both incredibly simple and excessively complicated, as we take a look at the remaining 110 episodes, 2 movies, and crossover special. Why couldn't I have chosen to analyse the timeline of Lloyd in Space instead?